and welcome to today's session. I'm Jay Manari, Festival Director of MiraBan UK Film Awards, and today I'm hosting Stephen Glickman, the author of Tags, candidate for Best Film Script at MiraBan UK Film Awards, second edition. Hello, Stephen, and welcome to this session.
Hello, thank you very much.
So first of all, a little information about Stephen. Stephen lives in Toronto, has been living also in British Columbia. He has wrote 4 poetry books and also a variety of scripts. He's also been the winner of the Festival of the Arts in 2001, and this got him also a full scholarship at the Vancouver Film School, where he's for their film writing program. And now he has completed Tags, the feature script that he submitted to MiraBan UK Film Awards, which is the story of a young woman that abandoned her dying mother to free laboratory animals. And it's all a story that you said is based on real events. Can you let us know which kind of research you made to create this film script and which real events you're referring to?
Well, I did a lot of research on the industry in general back then. That was even before I started screenwriting. But Ingrid Newkirk, the founder and president of PETA, wrote a book called Free the Animals. I can't remember now, it's so long ago, but she wrote a book and a whole chapter was devoted to the City of Hope raid, where it was one of the bigger events the Animal Liberation Front did back in the 80s. Back when it was a thing, when they got a lot of publicity. And so I just wrapped my character into that situation. It was really quite amazing what they did and what they were doing for a couple of years. So I put them there. It was also very low budget what they did. It was very low tech. It wasn't like nowadays where everything being monitored. It was surveillance cameras and telephones. Minimal. Right. So it was a lot of fun to move back in time and to do it back then. And I got permission from Ingrid's publisher to excerpt parts of her book if I want to. So we could I could tie this project in with PETA, or we could just we just change a couple lines of action and just change it around so it's not exactly referencing her book.
Okay.
But I also put in that character, which she didn't have, a young woman who abandons a dying mother. That was my stroke of genius there. And so
yeah, you realized that then. About the beginning, there is this voice narrator, which is the voice of Anne Kingsford, which was one of the first women to graduate in medicine at that time in 1800s. And she was an anti-vivisectionist, and you use her sort of as a narrator opening up. Oops, we lost him.
You lost
Stephen, we can't see you anymore. We try to open the camera again. Sorry guys, we are live streaming, so things happen sometimes. If you click on the icon of the camera at the bottom, we should be able to see you again.
I'm looking for that icon.
Okay, hold on with us, guys. Sorry for this.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, hopefully. Okay, yes. Here we go again. We're going to be live in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
We haven't lost our guest. Sorry. So I was going to ask you about this character, Anna Kingsford. Did you use her to shape a little bit the character of Sarah in the story? Because she's a vegetarian too, and they seem to me, reading the script, that they had some points in common. Did you research on her? No.
You know what? I'm not sure I had to, because you counter the same mentality. The feeling behind animal liberators and just animal rights and vegetarians, whatever it is there's a kinship and there's a family relationship with other animals.
Right.
I've been a vegetarian for a long, long time, and just to go into the grocery store and to look at what they're selling, the meat, I just feel like that's like me. Like, it's not that different than me. It's like, really, that's gonna go, that's what you're gonna put in your body, and that's what you're gonna go pay for and promote, because it's a feeling of that could be me. There's not really that big a difference between an animal and a human. And that's the kind of separation that's missing in the majority of the population. But the people I encountered in the animal rights movement back then and myself and in the books all share that belief that, holy smokes, what you're doing to an animal, you know, you're doing to me. Human rights, animal rights are human rights. So no, I didn't find out that Anna Kingsford was like that. But now that you bring it up, it doesn't surprise me one bit that she was like that. She was like Sarah Linder in my book. She's like the people I met. She's like the people I read about. She's like me in that there's just not an empathy, but like a feeling that that is me right there in the laboratory, chained up on that, you know, chained to that post over there, in the slaughterhouse, in the factory farms, or even in the laboratory, the research laboratories they're doing nowadays for COVID, or even the bats and the pigs and all that stuff mixed in those wet markets. Wherever you look at these animals, it's like, wait a minute, what's so different about them that I should be able to do that? I want to do that. So no, I don't know about that character. I just saw her quote, and it was like 1884. People were railing against this. Jesus, to some people, was railing against the slaughter in the temples. He says, look at you guys are just slaughtering all these animals, making a ton of money, holding a monopoly on this. And that's why he overturned the tables. And he says, don't be selling and slaughtering doves and animals in my temple, please. So it goes back a long time. I found a quote from 1884. Well, it's super interesting that people are fighting. We've been fighting that fight for as long as we could kill animals, probably. I mean, my opinion, the first political discussion in the family, my own opinion, is when the kid looks at their plate and sees what's there and says, I don't want to eat that. And there you go. There's a political debate going on right there that child somehow feels. And if you look at, let me show you this. This is a research done.
Yes.
These are the charities that kids like 12 to 24 feel strongly about. And this one charity here is just through the roof.
Right.
Over and over again. It dies down over age. That charity is PETA.
What is that?
PETA is People for the Ethical Treatments of Animals.
Right.
And so there's PETA showing up really strong with kids. And so does like animal humane societies there and all these animal rights. So it's in us. I think it's in us when we're younger. And then it also dies down, if you notice. Other charities start taking over. And near the end there, animal rights is, that age, it kind of dies down. But it's there in the beginning. And it's there in literature where you want to find it. So that's why I picked that quote.
Right. And about going back to tags specifically, this idea of this young woman abandoning her dying mother to, let's say, engage on a social political cause. Where this idea came from? Why did you decide to add this bit to?
I gotta give a lot of credit to my drama teacher. She's my scene study teacher. Actually, she ran the school. She ran a school in Los Angeles. Her name is Ivana Chubbuck. And yeah, she was doing, like, at the time, this was in the early 2000s. She had a branch in Vancouver, Canada. That was studying her technique, that she had teachers. She monitored once a month. She came up once a month, and she just taught me how to build interesting characters with lots and lots of conflict in them. So the conflict with my protagonist is that she's looking for a cure for cancer for her mother. And I insinuate that it goes down through the family, this disease, so it's a risk to her. And yet at the same time, she can't do it on animals. She can't give that. Whatever that is that's attacking her and her mother, she doesn't want to give to animals. Right? So that's an Ivana Chubbuck trick, is to fill her up full of conflict and let it roll. And every character that I use, I got to credit Ivana Chubbuck. I think I've pushed her technique a step farther, but I sure do like, you put them in there with Ivana, and you have an obstacle and you have a objective. And if you look at a good Ivana Chubbuck character, you don't know which one is which until the very end, until they make their final decision. Until all the cards are down, you're wondering, wait a minute, is he a guy who wants to lie but who can't lie, or is he a guy who can't lie but who wants to lie? And you don't know until the very end of the movie which one they overcame.
Right. And are you thinking to make this into a feature? Are you looking for producer networking possibilities, right?
Well, my hands are tied in another project. I got to fix the world with another project, but I am certainly looking. I wrote this screenplay 2001.
Right.
And it's based on events in 1984. But this is more relevant than ever, that we are somehow getting so involved in the animals and dominating, as someone I don't likes to use that word, dominating the animal kingdom. It's just coming back on us. Now we're stuck in a room. I got a bed behind me. That's because other people, either in the lab or whatever it is. Don't forget, the thing about the labs is that's where young kids usually cling on to this idea of animal rights. They don't get it from factory farms. They don't get it from other wet markets. They get it from looking at laboratory animals. Now, if you want to find a cure for, let's say, a SARS or a MERS, and you want to find a vaccine, the first thing you're going to have to do is find a strain of that vaccine that you could give to other animals. Because you got to make those animals sick in order to find a cure for them. So the first thing these labs are doing is they're messing around with the structure of these viruses to make it more contagious, to make it jump across species. The first thing they're going to do is the most riskiest thing in the world to all of us. So it could be from this sloppy, disgusting wet market, it could be from a factory farmer, it could be from a lab, is that they're all getting animals into our genes, into our lives, into our mouths, into our this. All these animals they want to mess around with, fiddle with. And so the movie is relevant, and it's only going to get more relevant. I see it. I don't see that, I don't have much hope that, my hope is that people come to realize that it's better to leave these guys alone.
Right.
And to start messing around with them. So I would love to see this become a movie. I had a lot of producers back in the day when I was really pushing it, before my other project took over. And they would say, well, no family's going to want to watch this movie together. Because this young girl is going to abandon her dying mother for puppies, to help out little dogs and cats. And all the parents in the world are just going to cringe at there's such a person who would abandon their dying parent for a little doggy. I mean, the priorities are all backwards. And I would look at these producers and like, no, that's pretty cool, actually. A lot of young kids are going to think that's a really interesting thing to do, is if the opportunity presents itself, go into one of these labs and pull out some animals and the cost be down. And so I think it's got a lot of potential to change a lot of minds, to start a lot of good discussion going.
Right. It certainly creates a lot of discussion, as you said, and it's a challenging decision. I mean, we can't say what's right or what's wrong, and I don't think it's going to be a family movie, but definitely it's going to be like a sci-fi movie that engages people into a very contemporary topic that makes us feel questioned and let's say putting the fingers against us and saying, okay, let's think about it.
Let's go back to your first question. This is based on real events, real people, right. And they risked a lot. Back then, they were the Al-Qaeda. They were terrorist number one because they went into a research laboratory and had the nerve to spray paint their walls and take the animals. And these guys went to prison for many years, and they paid a big price. And at the end of the movie, you see my main character is totally underground. She's now a fugitive. There's no coming back. And there's a big price to pay, and so there's they're very low budget James Bond. I mean, you have to be smart if you're going to break in. Even back then, if you're going to break into a nationally funded animal research lab, you got to be careful. You got to have a good team. You got to be very, very secretive. And so it's got all that James. It's like a grunge James Bond. It was super interesting that they actually did it. I mean, you don't hear too much. And by the way, the reason you don't hear too much is because they were so successful, they got so much public interest that the government passed a bill to make it illegal for the newspapers or the television stations to broadcast anything. If the television station was to broadcast today what they find out in the labs, that lab can sue them for the value of the cost of the cure for cancer. So, wow. Yeah, the lab's going to say, no, we were on the verge of finding a cure for cancer. That's like about $100 gazillion billion. And this poor little radio station or newspaper or cable station got to cough up the money to their lawyers. That's a law they made. So they basically took something that was very successful, the public was interested in. There was a lot of interest in the time of what they were finding. It was all over the news for a couple of years. And they said that part is shut down. You can no longer run to the TV stations and have a news conference. But the interest hasn't gone away. The interest is still there, I believe. But what the hell are they doing in there? Why are we all shut off in our homes? What exactly are they doing? Yeah, even to find a cure, what are they doing? So you don't know. So, I forget.
Yeah, animals are paying the price. Yeah, definitely. Especially when it comes down to vaccination. I mean, there is always, the experiments, it's been like that for ages. It doesn't mean that it has to continue to be like that. So I'm really thankful that you did, you know, you wrote such a story and you try to make people feel more sensitive about this topic. It's you know, it's everyone's business.
It has become that way. Look at that. I thought it was way off in a lab somewhere, hidden behind a door, maybe in a market somewhere. No. This thing is now dominating us. You try to dominate nature. It's got a way of saying, no, you're part of what you're dominating. You dominate this. We dominate you. Everything's getting. That's the message in my movie: is freedom must be shared.
Right.
And the opposite of that is. Yeah, and if I can make you more free, then I'm going to be more free at the end of the day. And if I try to dominate you, that's going to dominate me. I'm going to get dominated because I'm trying to dominate. It's just the energy you put out there. Yeah. And well, hopefully I wrapped it up in some really interesting characters, which I think I did.
Yeah, you did. I mean, you're here for the shortlisted for best film script. You certainly did. Anyway. Let me summarize for the audience that you'll be able to read the script during the festival streaming from the 28th to the 30th of August, and you'll also be able to watch our other films in streaming during these days. We are about to begin, so stay tuned. And I really want to thank Stephen Glickman for being with us and talking about his film script tags and to be so propositive and so detailed about his research on his script. Thank you very much, Stephen. It's been a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.